CBSE Board, Class 10, History, Chapter 1, Part 1. This video is created by Rini Matthew. We're going to begin with the portions assigned by NCERT by the CBSE curriculum for grade 10. And we will begin with the first chapter for class 10 in history, chapter 1. And you should know that chapter 1 is divided into many parts. The first part is the French Revolution and the idea of nation. Second being the making of nationalism in Europe. Third being the age of revolutions. Fourth, the making of Germany and Italy. Fifth, visualizing the nation. Sixth, nationalism and imperialism. When you look at all these parts, don't get excited and anxious because each part is relevant to the chapter, and as you study each part, you will not even understand how time flies. It's going to be really fast. First, we are going to begin with the first part, the rise of nationalism in Europe. This picture must be very familiar with you. This is already given in your textbook. Have a close look at it. The illustrations given in your textbook is not just for you to see the picture and flip the pages away. It is for you to use it in your writing also. So we are going to have a little bit of description about this glorious picture. In 1848, Frédéric Seurat, he is a French artist who prepared a series of 4 prints. He prepared a series of 4 prints visualizing his dream of a world. He visualized a dream in which there was a world which was made up of democratic and social republics, as he called them. So this was the dream of many people across the world during this time. So this artist also visualized something like that, a democratic and social republic. Do you know what this is on the screen? Oh, you must be really familiar with it. The first print, I talked about 4 prints. There is a figure 1 which I showed you just now in the previous slide, shows the people of Europe and America. So who all are there? People of Europe and America, both men and women, of all ages and social classes, irrespective of their class, age, color, they joined together. They were marching in a long train, and they also offered homage to what? The Statue of Liberty as they pass by it. If you have a doubt, let's go back to that figure and see. Look at the long train of people. Statue of Liberty is here. Okay? And they're paying homage. People from both Europe and America joining together with all the flags. Look at the way they walk, irrespective of the class. By the clothes, we can understand that the class is different. It is not the same class. Artists of the time of the French Revolution personified liberty, means they always put human qualities into the Statue of Liberty as a female figure. Okay, they saw the statue as a female figure. Here you can see the torch of enlightenment. This is the torch of enlightenment. Please follow me on this picture. She bears this in one hand and the Charter of Rights of Man in the other. Very important point. So this is a female figure for them. You have the torch of enlightenment and the Charter for Rights of Man. On the earth, in the foreground of the image, lie the shattered remains of the symbols of absolutist institutions, which means there were a lot of institutions and ideology which were very strict and which just wanted to suppress and repress the people. So, in the picture also we can see that there is a lot of shattered remains of symbols and many things from the absolutist or the strictest institutions, strictest monarchs, strictest government as you call it now. All that is shattered. Because, why do you think it is shattered? Because it is not going to work out. So, this particular French artist, Frédéric Seurat, had an utopian vision. Utopia is a place where everything is perfect. It is a place where everything is perfect and ideal. Nothing goes wrong there. Of course, it is very difficult to attain such a place. But this particular artist visualizes, I talked to you about the dream that he had. He visualizes his dream, saying that it's a utopian vision. The people of the world are grouped as distinct nations, people from different nations who are identified through their flags and national costume. Take a trail. They come as a train, okay, and they walk towards the Statue of Liberty. Now, who is leading the procession? Please take a look at the picture which is given in your textbook. Leading the procession way past the Statue of Liberty are the United States and Switzerland. The first people to be part of the procession, leading the procession, that is a long train, is people from United States and Switzerland, and which by this time were already nation states. So by this particular time already they were nation states. That is why we are referring to United States and Switzerland. So France is identified by its revolutionary tricolor. If you look at the flag has got a great history, right? We saw that in your previous classes, how they got their tricolor, the French flag. It has just reached the statue. That is what is seen in the picture. She is followed by the people of Germany. That is, France is followed by the people of Germany bearing the black, red and gold flag. So they are identifiable by their flags. So when this image was created, that is the first print. This is the first print of Seurat's dream vision. When this was created, the German people did not exist as a united nation, but America and Switzerland, they were already nation states. But by this time, German people did not exist as a united nation. The flag which they carried is an expression of liberal hopes. There was a lot of hope in the flag that they carried in 1848. And what was the hope? To unify the numerous German-speaking principalities. It was only to unify the people who spoke numerous German of different principles into one nation, state under a democratic constitution. It was to bring together the people speaking different or numerous German. The dialects will be there of a particular language, right? Different forms will be there. They are of different principles, and the vision was to bring this whole different principled people into one nation and to bring them together under a democratic constitution. So that was the vision. Now, following the German people, so first we have people from United States, Switzerland, then France, and then Germans, and then following the German people are the people of Austria, the kingdom of the two Sicilies. Then comes Lombardy, Poland, England, Ireland, Hungary, and Russia. This is a long train. And if you look closely at the picture, from the heavens above you can see the image of Christ. Christ is surrounded by saints and angels who gaze upon the scene. All of them are looking, gazing at this scene where humanity is coming in a long train comprising of these nations. They are unified. And this particular picture or portrait was used by the artist to symbolize fraternity. Fraternity means universal brotherhood, oneness, unity among the nations of the world. That was the vision of the artist, to bring together people from different principles and ideology and make them one under one particular ideology, that is the democratic constitution. And that is what is seen in this particular picture, which is the vision of Frederick Seurat. Now, you need to understand the meaning of this word, nation state. Nation state, we saw that Switzerland and US were already nation states. It's a sovereign state of which most of the citizens or subjects are united, and they are defined as a nation. They are one under one particular rule, such as language or common descent. They all are one, unified by language, their descent, ideology, everything will be the same, unified under one sovereign. That is the meaning of nation state. Don't have a confusion when you hear of these terms, because these are key words. Now you have a word sovereign here. What is the meaning of the word sovereign? A supreme ruler, especially a monarch. So everything comes under the monarch. That is the meaning. Okay. So I'm giving you these terms so that you understand the points better. Now look at the nation state. This is a different picture which I've given. When you start with desire for sovereignty, this is what the artist wanted. He wanted everybody to be under the rule of one supreme ruler. Then what you should have, if you have a desire, if you have a wish for sovereignty, you should have people unified, and that will lead to attachment to territory. So this is the three principles, the basic ground line. When you have design for sovereignty, people should be unified, and when the people are unified, there will be attachment to territory. That is how you acquire nation state. Very important diagram which will help you to understand things better. What is the meaning of the word fraternity? A group of people, I told you just now, it is universal brotherhood, sharing common interest and principles. Okay, they share all commonalities between them. During the 19th century, nationalism emerged as a very important force. And this particular force brought about a lot of changes. Sweeping changes means dramatic changes in the political and mental world of Europe. Everything changed in the face of Europe, especially politically. So when things change politically, it will affect the social part also. Did you understand? When something is changed in the political sphere, social sphere is also affected. The end result of all these changes was the emergence of the nation state. That is how the nation state emerged in place of the multinational dynastic empires of Europe. Instead of the multinational dynastic empire, which is very huge, of Europe, and Europe had a very common way of putting everybody under them, colonization. Instead of that, that is when people wanted to separate themselves into nation states. The concept and practices of a modern state, that is a nation state, is to have a centralized power. Just now we saw under the vision of Frederick Soro, which was exercised by a sovereign or a monarch. Sovereign control should be there. And of course there should be a clearly defined territory. It's not that the monarch can rule over any place. It's not like that. There should be a clearly defined territory, which had been developing over a long period of time in Europe. It is not that you go and annex and conquer places immediately and say, come on, I'm going to rule these places. Then it becomes nationalism or colonialism, right? Sorry, colonialism or imperialism. Did you understand this point? When you go and suddenly conquer different parts of the world, it becomes colonization. But what does this point say? You should have been having or developing these places over a long period of time so that it is yours. And then the sovereignty is exercised. And then there should be clearly defined territory, and that is how it becomes one empire. But what was a nation state? Majority of its citizens, not only the rulers, came to develop a sense of common identity. They had common identity, commonalities was there. They also shared common history or descent. That is the meaning of nation state. Of course territory is there. Of course sovereignty is there. It was developing over a long period of time. Apart from that, they should have a sense of common identity, and they should have shared history or descent. So with these points, I hope you're clear about these terms, nation state, because as a history student, you should know about these terms when you write your answer and use it at the right place. Okay? And also about the modern state and how things changed after the 19th century. Now, what do you mean by commonness? This commonness did not exist from time immemorial. It is not that these commonalities came all of a sudden. That is the point which is mentioned here also. It was developing over a long period of time, and they shared common experiences. Only when you have common experiences, you have common sense of identity. It was forged through struggles. Only through struggles you have these commonalities. It was through the action of leaders and the common people. We have in India also. Through the struggles and everything, all the people survived the struggle during our national freedom struggle. And we had common leaders who fought for us and common people. So since time immemorial we have been sharing the struggles and pain, and that is how we are a nation state. We have common sense of identity. We share the same history or the descent. Did you understand? So now this particular chapter is going to look at the diverse processes through which nation states and nationalism came into being in the 19th century. That is what we are going to see. How nationalism, and as a result of nationalism, how nation states emerged, especially by the 19th century.